Okay, so imagine surgeons crack open your skull, place a grid of electrodes directly onto your brain, monitor you for 2 weeks, and then just leave the electrodes in there on purpose because they dissolve
I'm sorry, they dissolve? Like, in your brain?
in your brain into amino acids, into metal ions, gone. Welcome to KPsphere Signals. I'm Brian.
I'm Rachel, and I was not prepared for that opener. That's insane.
And today we are going full deep dive into the most fascinating thing happening in neurotechnology that almost nobody outside of a very specific research basement knows about.
Okay, so before you go full professor mode on me, who actually needs this? Like, who's the person getting electrodes stuck on their brain for 2 weeks?
Right, so epilepsy, specifically drug-resistant epilepsy. About 3 to 5,000 people a year in the US alone, their seizures don't respond to medication, and the only fix is surgery to cut out the part of the brain causing the problem.
Okay, that's already terrifying.
But here's the thing. Before they cut anything, they have to map the brain. They have to find exactly where the seizures are starting. And the way they do that right now, they open your skull, place a bunch of electrodes on your cortex, close you back up mostly. Wait 5 to 14 days for you to have seizures while they watch.
They wait for you to have seizures on purpose?
On purpose, in a hospital, being monitored, and then second surgery. They go back in, take the electrodes out, and then do the actual resection.
So that's 3 major brain surgeries for one problem.
2 craniotomies plus the resection, yes. And the second one, the retrieval surgery, has a 3 to 5% infection rate, which when we're talking about your brain, 3 to 5% is not a number you want to be anywhere near.
Yeah, no. Hard pass. Okay, so the silk thing, how does silk even enter this conversation? Like, who sat down and thought, you know what? Worm, silk.
Silkworm silk, specifically, Bombyx mori, the domesticated silkworm, and the people who basically kick this whole thing off are Fiorenzo Ominetto and David Kaplan at Tufts University. Starting around 2008, they started treating silk fibroin, that's the structural protein inside the silk, as basically a programmable biomaterial.
Programmable silk. Sure, totally normal.
I know it sounds like something from a weird TikTok, but stay with me, because what they figured out is that you can control exactly how fast silk dissolves by adjusting its crystal structure. Like, change how you process it, and you can make it last hours, weeks, months, or years inside the body.
Oh, that's actually. Wait, that is actually kind of incredible.
Right? It's like a biological timer baked into the material itself. And then John Rogers, who was at University of Illinois and is now at Northwestern, his group comes in around 2012 and goes, what if we put actual electronics on this?
Electronics on silk. Okay.
Ultra-thin metal traces. We're talking magnesium, molybdenum, zinc, all metals your body already knows how to handle, deposited onto silk film so thin it's basically a biological post-it note. The whole thing works like normal electronics while it's in there, records signals, transmits data, and then just metabolizes.
Okay, so it's like. Okay, you know in Mission Impossible when the message self-destructs. It's that, but for your brain.
That is exactly what it is. I'm stealing that.
You're welcome. But okay, the skeptic in me. Magnesium dissolving inside your skull sounds like it could also just be bad?
That's the right question, and here's the answer. Magnesium is literally a nutrient. Your body uses it constantly. And silicon, because there are also silicon nanomembrane transistors in these arrays, silicon turns into silicic acid, which is the same form of silicon you get from drinking mineral water. Your body just excretes it.
Mineral water. My brain electrode and my sparkling water have the same byproduct. Amazing.
The animal study data genuinely backs this up. The research reports no meaningful inflammatory response, no toxicity signatures, just clean dissolution. And the 2014 paper from the Rogers Group, Tao and Huang and Morelli, that paper now has 335 citations. That's the one that proved complex resorbable electronics could actually operate reliably inside living mammals.
335 citations is a big deal in research world, right? Like that's not nothing?
That's like a platinum record in academic publishing. That paper is the foundational reference that everyone in this space builds on.
Okay, so we've got dissolving silk, dissolving metal, dissolving silicon. What does the actual device look like? Like if I held it in my hand.
It's a mesh, an ultra-flexible mesh that conforms to the folds of your cortex. Imagine, okay, you know those temporary tattoos? Like the metallic ones?
Oh yeah, the ones that look like circuitry?
Exactly that energy, but it's a functional neural recording array. It drapes over the brain surface or penetrates slightly into the cortex for intracortical recording. And because it's so thin and flexible, it's designed to reduce the micromotion damage that rigid metal electrodes can cause.
Wait, so current electrodes, they move around in there?
Your brain is pulsing constantly. Every heartbeat, every breath, the tissue moves. And rigid electrodes scraping against soft brain tissue causes scarring, causes signal degradation. The silk-based arrays are designed to flex with the brain. They're mechanically matched to neural tissue.
That's okay, that's genuinely brilliant. That's not just it dissolves. That's also just a better electrode.
Both things. Better electrode, and it goes away when you're done with it. This is either the most elegant engineering solution I've ever heard of, or I've completely lost my mind, and honestly, I'm fine with either.
Probably both. So where are we actually at with this? Like, is this cool lab demo territory or happening in hospitals territory?
So, KPsphere's assessment, and we analyze 89 sources for this, 49 papers, the whole thing. Technology Readiness Level 4 to 5, which means proven in relevant environment, animal data is solid, but we haven't done it in a human yet.
TRL 4 to 5, scale of 1 to 10?
1 to 9. So we're past, does this even work in a lab? We're past, does this work in animals? We're in the territory of the FDA conversation needs to happen now. And the estimate is first in human trials within 24 to 36 months. But that's contingent on hitting some regulatory and manufacturing milestones.
2 to 3 years if things go right. Okay. And the FDA thing, is that the big blocker right now?
Regulatory, manufacturing scale, and clinical validation. The foundational material science, largely solved. The remaining barriers are actually the boring but critical ones. Can you manufacture these consistently? Can you validate dissolution timing reliably in humans? Can you get FDA breakthrough device designation, which would fast-track the pathway?
And breakthrough device. That's the thing they give to stuff that's genuinely better than what exists. Right? Not just marginally better.
Right, and potentially eliminates an entire surgery with a 3 to 5% infection rate is a pretty strong argument for breakthrough device status. I mean, that's not incremental, that's structural.
Yeah, but who's going to pay for this? Because I know you're excited, and I'm getting excited, but at some point, someone's got to write the check.
Oh, Rachel, I have been waiting for this moment.
Oh no, he's got numbers.
I've got numbers. Okay, so the device itself, probable selling price somewhere between $8,000 and $15,000 per array. Sounds expensive. Now here's the other number.
Hit me.
The retrieval surgery you're avoiding is estimated to cost $45,000 to $80,000 per patient. The value proposition for insurance companies and hospital systems is almost insultingly obvious.
So it could be significantly cheaper to use the fancy dissolving electrode than to do the second surgery.
Significantly cheaper if the device pricing lands where we expect. And you're also eliminating the infection risk, the recovery time, the hospital stay for surgery too. For payers, this is basically a gift.
Okay, that's actually one of the clearest healthcare economics arguments I've heard on this show, and we've done a lot of healthcare.
The market sizing comes out to somewhere between $280 million and $650 million serviceable addressable market by 2032 in the core epilepsy surgery indication alone.
And that's just epilepsy?
Just epilepsy. The same technology platform could work for cortical mapping during tumor resection, Neurosurgeons need to know where language and motor function are before they cut, and potentially for traumatic brain injury monitoring. Expand to those and you're looking at a market that could triple.
Okay, so WHO is actually building this? Because this seems like, if the economics are this obvious, why isn't every big medtech company all over it?
This is the part that genuinely surprised me. Fewer than 6 dedicated startups globally working on this right now. 6. For a problem this clear with economics this compelling.
That's insane. Why?
It's technically hard. Manufacturing ultra-thin bioresorbable electronics at clinical scale with consistent dissolution timing is not a trivial engineering problem. Most of the IP and talent is concentrated in a handful of university labs. Tufts, Northwestern, University of Washington, and those spin-outs are just starting to happen.
So it's like the window is open right now, and most people don't even see the window.
By our read, that window could close within about 18 months as Tufts and Northwestern spin-outs start to formalize, and one stealth mode entity we flagged in the research starts to come out of hiding.
There's a stealth company doing this?
There is, we can't say more than that publicly, but yes, someone is operating very quietly in this space, and that's usually a sign that something real is happening.
Okay, that's either exciting or ominous. I can't tell.
Probably both. And then there's Megsorbio Biomedical Corp, which is in our funding data at $305,000. That's a real company in this space, and that name alone, Magsorbio, tells you exactly what they're doing. Magnesium, resorbable, they're not hiding what they're building.
Love a company that just tells you what they do in their name. Okay, so the total funding we're looking at across all this research.
So, our track direct funding across the dataset, the grants, the government money we could verify, totals about $135 million, which sounds tiny.
That is tiny. That's like a nice house in a medium city.
But that dramatically understates the real picture. DARPA's N3 program, the NIH Brain Initiative, the whole Tufts Silk Biomaterials Cluster, the estimate is $180 million or more in adjacent funding has flowed into the broader, resorbable bioelectronics space since 2020. We just can't always trace it directly to this specific application.
So the government is funding this indirectly through like 50 different programs.
Which is very on brand for how this stuff actually gets funded. And speaking of government, I have to tell you about the defense angle because it's wild and almost nobody talks about it.
Oh, there's a defense angle. Of course, there's a defense angle.
So think about what this technology actually does for a second. It's a neural monitoring device that self-destructs on a programmed timer. No retrieval required, no evidence left behind.
Oh.
Yeah, wanna run shit.
Oh, like if someone was captured.
Transient battlefield neural monitoring with anti-tamper resorption properties. That's the phrase in the research. Those words were chosen carefully.
Brian, that's kind of terrifying, actually.
It is kind of terrifying, actually. I mean, the civilian application is compelling and helps epilepsy patients. The dual-use angle is a lot, and the research notes it's being actively explored but rarely discussed publicly.
This is giving me very much the technology is neutral. The applications are not vibes.
Exactly, and DARPA is not funding this because they love epilepsy patients. They're funding the broader platform because they see what the platform can do. Both things can be true.
Okay, so let's zoom out. We've got dissolving silk electrodes from silkworms, magnesium circuits that your body treats like a nutrient, a market that's wide open, fewer than 6 companies, a stealth player, government money flowing in from every direction, and, oh, also, maybe the military is interested. Did I get that right?
You got that exactly right, and I love that you could rattle that off without blinking.
I've been listening to you for 3 seasons. Some of it sticks. So what actually has to happen for this to become real? Like hospital real? Patient real?
Okay, so manufacturing scale is probably the hardest near-term problem. You can make one perfect dissolvable electrode array in a lab. Making 10,000 identical ones with consistent dissolution timing is a completely different engineering challenge.
Like the difference between baking one perfect cake and running a bakery.
Perfect analogy. And the dissolution timing is critical. You program it for a set monitoring window, and it needs to dissolve on schedule. The research flags about plus or minus 20% scheduling uncertainty right now from variation in CSF flow in individual biology. That precision has to be nailed down before this gets approved.
What happens if it dissolves too early?
You lose your monitoring window before you've characterized the seizure onset zone. Patient potentially has to go back under for another procedure. You've lost the whole point.
And too late?
Probably fine biologically since the materials are benign, but you've got regulatory and liability problems. The FDA is going to want very tight confidence intervals on dissolution timing before this gets approved.
That makes sense. Okay, so the 24 to 36-month first-in-human estimate. Is that optimistic or realistic?
It's contingent on someone either getting breakthrough device designation or running the trial outside the US first, which is actually a real option. The regulatory environment in some European countries is faster for this class of device.
So the first human to have their brain mapped by a dissolving silk electrode might be European.
Very possibly. And honestly, if I were running one of these companies, I'd be looking hard at the EU MDR pathway right now.
Okay, bold prediction time. I know you have one. You always have one.
Okay, here's my prediction. And I want to be clear, this is my read, not a guarantee. Within 5 years, one of the major epilepsy surgery centers could publish the first human trial results. And if those results are solid, within a few years after that, we could start to see real pressure on the standard of care for drug-resistant epilepsy surgery.
The second surgery just goes away.
If the clinical data holds up, the retrieval surgery becomes the outdated option. Like your surgeon telling you, oh, we still do it the old way, starts to become a question worth asking the same way you question any practice that's been supplanted by something safer and cheaper.
That would be massive for patients, like genuinely life-changing.
3,000 to 5,000 people a year in the US alone who would not have to go back under general anesthesia for a second craniotomy. If this pans out, that's not a small thing.
No, that's actually huge.
And the wild part is we're talking about it right now at the moment when it's actually still small enough to see the whole shape of it. In 5 years, this could be in every neuroconference keynote.
We get to be the people who knew before it was cool.
KPsphere signals, coming in early on the dissolving brain electrode era.
That's a sentence I never thought I'd say, and I'm at peace with that.
Okay, so basically, Silk Biomaterials researchers at Tufts and a Northwestern Materials group figured out how to make electronics that dissolve inside your body. The epilepsy surgery field could be in for a major shift. There are fewer than 6 startups on this globally right now, and someone in a basement somewhere is already ahead of everyone else.
So basically, a worm accidentally started what could be a revolution in brain surgery, and nobody noticed.
My bet, if the clinical data comes through, the 2-stage epilepsy craniotomy workflow starts looking very dated very fast. The dissolving array has a real shot at winning.
That's a take. I respect the commitment.
All right, if your brain is fried in a good way right now, the full deep research report, 89 sources analyzed, funding intelligence, the stealth company flag, all of it, is sitting at kpsphere.com. Go read it. Go nerd out. Subscribe so you don't miss next week. We're going somewhere completely different. Think geopolitics meets next-gen materials.
And if you happen to work in neurosurgery and you're listening to this, we'd love to hear from you. Prove us wrong or right. Either way, show up.